We're rolling. Thank you, Joanne. Please be reviewing the minutes. As soon as Joanne sits down, she'll be doing a roll call. If we have any guests, please make sure you sign in as a guest.
Good morning, everybody. All right. Peter Amato.
Present.
Diane Andelman.
Present.
Kate Benoit.
Here.
Michael Bunk.
Here.
Marilyn Curtis.
Here.
Maureen DeBeguer.
Here.
Ruth Dries is absent. David Furness.
Here.
George Franklin, I don't see. Dan Gladstone, I don't see. Richard Handelsman.
Present.
Laura Henley, I don't see. Jackie Carlin, I don't see. Kelly Jensen,
Not here.
don't see. Bobby Levin,
Here.
Joyce Reese.
Yes.
Flora Simpson,
Here.
Jeffrey Skeen, don't see. Jerry Sutomsky, Gloria Tart,
Here.
and I don't see Mary Walsh. Officers, David's not here, I don't see Eddie Grossman. Dominic is not here, Stewart's not here. Fausto Fabro,
Here.
Patricia Caputo,
Here.
David Boaz,
Here.
and I'm here. 1, 2,
I believe we have a quorum.
Yes. 13 of 20.
13
Very good.
members.
Welcome, everybody. Has everybody reviewed the minutes from the previous meeting? I'll entertain them. Yes, Richard?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Well, I need a motion. I
I
need a
make a
second.
mo-
You have the motion. Ed,
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
thank you. Is there a second on that?
Second.
David Furness raised his hand first. Second. Are there any corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none? Now you can say it. I now make the motion to accept the minutes.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as
There you go. Thank you.
excellently presented.
Very good. So moved. Okay. I'm going to start off with our Cam report, because he's got a lot to say today.
Do I?
Yes.
Well, I better get a microphone.
Oops.
I want to strain my vocal cords. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
No, I don't have a lot. I've got a couple things. First is, I had my 1 minute and 28 seconds in the spotlight yesterday on PBC Channel 20. I appeared before the Board of County Commissioners Zoning Committee. This was a statement of support for the Reflection Bay project. Making that statement of support as part of our deal for the South Canal and the money that they gave us. So the commissars wrote my speech and I made it. Secondly, I received a notice earlier this week that one of the Yugo officers, Mr. Grossman, has organized a Yugo delegate candidates forum at Anshe Shalom. That's fine, people can do whatever they want, but we want it known that this is not a Yugo-sponsored event. We have a search nominations committee that organizes the forum and does it in an organized way. As much as I hate to publicize this other event, we need to make it clear that this is not a Yugo function. A couple of projects going on this week that I've been paying attention to. One is some wall painting over in the East Hampton section. You'll see it in my report later this week. I had to take down 2 sections of fence along Haverhill and Ascot Street. Job literally just finished, and we're going to get the fences back up hopefully by the end of the day. Second one is we're continuing with brush and tree clearance along the wall at Southampton C. This is what divides us from the Guitar Center. we found a big hole in the wall while we were clearing it out, maybe garbage truck from the other side, homeless people were coming through it. This morning I was contacted by one of the owners of the shopping center, Mr. Cohen. We're gonna work together to get that stretch more secure with cameras and police and whatnot. That's pretty much all I have for this week. If you guys have anything for me, I'm happy to answer questions,
I have a question.
take on work.
I have a question.
Go for it.
Regarding the Andover issue, I noticed that a lot of the fences down there now.
Oh,
Has that
good,
become-
yeah.
Has that become a safety issue for the village?
Okay, just so everybody knows what we're talking about. A section of fence along the north side of South Canal at Andover H and Andover M has been removed. That needed to be removed because of the survey work that's going on in preparation for the dredging of South Canal. Does it present an immediate safety hazard or security hazard? No. There's a moat in front of it. I've not ever heard of anyone ever climbing that fence. It will be replaced once the project is done and security has it on their rotation to keep checking it. But yes, there are two sections gone. They will be eventually replaced. Hi, good night.
I missed the candidates forum, the first one, so could you repeat when? and
No,
where?
I'm not gonna do
It's
that.
on TV.
Thanks.
The candidates forum is on TV.
Yeah, you could watch our candidates forum on our community TV channel,
Which is,
which,
591.
591 is the channel that it's on. Oh, 592? I'm sorry. Check 590. 590 is where I post all the programming.
and it bears watching
It's also
because,
on the website.
oh yeah, you can watch it at unitedcivic.org.
Right.
There's a recording, there's a YouTube recording.
Blog post is there.
And it was a very well attended, very well organized event. Bobby did some job.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, yeah, on Reflection Bay, and this is what I was discussing with our neighbor, Cohen Commercial. We've had some issues with homeless camps on the Reflection Bay property. And this happens from time to time, we get the cops in there, they clean them out. The developer has signed an OAN agreement, basically a no trespassing sign, I'm sure you've seen them, they're green and white. We have them at UGOS, some of the associations have them. With this agreement now, when there are homeless people on that property, the police can come right in and arrest anybody they see, without having to check with the owner. So that's just something that's been going on. Hi, Richard.
I'd just like to clarify, you mentioned the money that that Reflection Bay gave us.
Correct.
That money was put into an escrow account.
I wouldn't exactly call it an escrow account, Richard. The deal that UCO made with this developer is that in order to proceed with their project, they needed to agree to pay for half of the redredging of South Canal, because South Canal is going to be hooked up to their drainage system. They also had to agree to fund 15% of the annual cost of maintenance on the South Canal. So that $750,000, because the job was estimated at up to $1.5 million, was given to us by Reflection Bay. It is in our control. It's in a joint checking account for which we have sole control. That's why I don't call it, it's not an escrow account. It'll be our project, and essentially the other side will be funding half of it. Since we're talking about South Canal, I might as well give you an update on that. That project is proceeding. The survey work is nearly complete. I keep saying it's complete, but then they keep coming back. That's why that fence had to come out, Jerry, because it was in their way. Once that survey work is finally complete, then it's Simmons and White's job to create a plan, a construction plan, right, for the dredging of the canal. That'll include creating a request for proposal, scope of work, and quantities list. once we have that in hand, the next step will be select the vendor, and that'll be the job of the Bids Infrastructure Committee, with almost certainly some help from the engineer. Once that's done and a contract is signed after being vetted by our attorney, it's time for the steam shovels. We pull permits and we get that canal dredged. I'll save North Canal for another day because that one's a little tricky. So, yeah, that's all I got on that, unless I missed anything. Hi Laura, nice seeing you yesterday.
Good to see you. Question for you too. The Greenbrier fence that's down and
The
whatnot.
construction fence.
Is that a Coulter?
It is. That construction
Problem or
fence was put up
CB?
by the previous owner, and it stands to maintain. It was supposed to only be there for 5 years or something, and when we see it pushed down, we just have it picked up. Usually security does it for me, but we do keep an eye on that. And there are, when you see those push down sections, that's where the hobos are coming in, and why they're coming in. Route through the dumpsters, use our bathrooms, water, humanitarian needs, but not ours to fill. So, yeah, we keep an eye on it. Laura.
Is that Coulter project, is it being secured?
It will be
with-
secured.
I'm saying, have they done that yet? Because we had the
No,
homeless-
I've seen no, other than some temporary construction fence going up, no, I've not seen that. The plan does call for a physical boundary around the entire property, either a wall, a berm, or a fence, depending on the section.
So in the interim, they haven't stepped up to secure our side of the property?
Not really, no. So, we just have to keep an eye on it, that's it.
Okay, just one more question, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
You talked about the north side canal.
North Canal, yes.
The bridge to the synagogue, could you give us kind of an update on what that
Yeah,
status
that's
is?
a little bit of a sticky subject, but
How's
sure,
the-
I'll tell you what I know.
What are the attorneys doing? Because I know it's with attorneys now and
Yeah,
tax collector.
and here's where we're at. 50 years ago, Mr. Levy built a footbridge to connect the Sheffield section of Century Village to Congregation Anshe Shalom. It's good, it was a good bridge, but like a lot of things built 50 plus years ago, no permits. And what makes it difficult is that the bridge deteriorated to the point that in 2018, I closed off access to the bridge. Now, Yuko doesn't own that property yet. But I felt it was a safety hazard and I closed it off. There's big holes in the deck. Now it's completely jumbled over. I can't imagine anybody would be stupid enough to cross it, but you never know. We do keep an eye on that. Now, where we're at with North Canal, because almost certainly that canal will need to be dredged. The question is who pays for it. My feeling is that ultimately we, the union owners, are going to have to pay. Fausto's going to run down other avenues to see if we can get help from, let's say, South Florida Water Management District, Lake Work Drainage District, or the county to help us with that. And it's kind of behooves us to run those avenues down to make sure that before we spend union owner money, we can get the government to help us. What makes North Canal trickier is that Yuko doesn't own that canal. It's connected to our drainage system, and it's important. It keeps most of the north side of Century Village's feet dry, right? Because we're living in the original Florida swampland. But problem is we don't own it. So how do we pull permits to improve a property that we don't own? How does Fausto go to the unit owners and say, can we please take $1 million out of the unit owner reserves to improve property we don't own? We have to get ownership of the property. The 6 parcels that line the canal, which is straight across the top of the property, belong to a defunct corporation called Century Utilities. That was an old Mr. Levy company, long defunct. So really, nobody owns it. So our attorneys have advised us that the next step is for Yuko to acquire the tax certificates for these defunct parcels. I've actually farmed this one out to our incoming corresponding secretary, James Borzos, who used to work for the county. Laura, if you want to get with James, I'm guessing you might be helpful with that one. It's a matter of going on that website and registering to purchase them, and I think there's an auction involved, and hopefully nobody else bids against us. But that process is continuing. Once we own the property, then the question is, when is it gonna get dredged, who's gonna pay for it, and we move forward from there. And it's a policy decision to be made by the delegate assembly and the officers. So, meanwhile, staff work continues.
Donald,
Yes,
is a part of that owned by FPL?
negative. There is an FPL easement along most of that northern section, because there's wires there, but that's simply a maintenance easement. They have no ownership there. And by the way, we did check on that one as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, they don't dredge canals. Yeah. Hi, Michael.
Hey, thank you. In regards to easements,
Yeah.
going back to the Reflection Bay project,
Yes.
the one that's by Building 15 in Gulf's Edge that goes back onto the golf course property, what happens with that when they take over?
You're talking about the tongue that separates two parts of, I call it the tongue. That's going to, as I remember the plan, that was supposed to be fenced off green space. Nothing will go there. And there'll be a fence around it on their side. So, can the plan change? Yes, but that's the last I heard about that particular parcel.
Thank you.
Marilyn, did you have your hand up?
This Marilyn?
Yeah, you.
No, I didn't.
All right. You were just clutching your pearls. Got it.
As far as I'm aware of, no actual building plans have been accepted by from the developer to actually get a building permit to build anything.
Right.
And nothing will be kind of approved unless it's run through with us first.
Correct.
So,
And where are we at today? Yesterday, the county board of county commissioners approved a petition for a community development district, CDD. What that essentially is a special taxation district for that property, which allows them to float a bond and build out the infrastructure, the same infrastructure we have: storm drains, potable water, electricity, all the things that a community would need to build out. And that's solely borne by the new residents. None of that touches any other taxpayer, including Century Village. And that's been made, our attorney made that very clear, that the petition should include that. The other thing our attorney was very insistent on, and got what he wanted, was that that petition have language that guarantees that Reflection Bay will continue, they can't negate our deal. They have to continue to fund annual maintenance to 15% of whatever it costs us to keep maintaining that canal in the future. Okay? Anybody else? I wore you out? All right. Good. Thanks, everyone.
thank you. For not having a lot to say, you did say quite a bit. That's good. Okay. How about David Boaz?
Good morning. Quick thank you to all the officers and staff at the office that have been covering for me while I've been recovering. I thank them for that. Been very kind about that. And this coming Wednesday at 12 o'clock is the cutoff date for turning in new delegate forms. If it's not in the UCO office prior to 12 o'clock, it will not be updated for the upcoming election. Also, since most of you people here are delegates, please remember to come and vote on Friday. Voting is from 8 o'clock in the morning till 9:30. And spread the word around to your friends and neighbors who are also delegates to come and vote next week. And that's all I have from this desk. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne?
Morning. The only thing I have is I just posted March issue of the UCO Reporter to the blog just before I came over here. So if you want to get an early jump on taking a look at the election section that's in there, you'll get it printed obviously when it's delivered, but if you want to take a look at it, all of the bios and all the information about the election and everything, it's a beautiful issue. Ruth's been out, but she's done a great job of getting that, doing remote work from home. So it's posted so everyone knows it's there. And it's also there's going to be some additional information on the TV as we go along, so. But that's it for me, unless anyone has any questions. That's it.
I got
Thank
a
you, Joe.
question.
Oh, sorry.
Why is it that it just coming out for March and the election is like 4 days later? Why wasn't it out in the February?
It's always every month. It's the week before the delegate assembly. So you get a week from, today, it makes 1 week from today that you have to look at it. It's just the way the paper is published. We have no control, not that we have no control, but I mean, it's just, you get a week.
Let me take, I'm gonna answer that.
Paper has no.
Our bylaws require that at the February delegate assembly, that anybody that wishes to run can be nominated off the floor. If you think that that is not a good idea and you want to move that to January, contact Richard right now and we will make a bylaw change, because it's in our bylaws. Make the nominations off the floor in January, this way you don't have a month and a half to ask the questions that you're, we're doing it according to the bylaws. Does that answer your question?
It answers my question, but it doesn't answer the people question, because people ask like, how come it's not, we don't know who's running, who's who? And
Well,
they still have
if
time
they,
to-
Flo, if they went to the delegate assembly, it's been announced, it was announced in January, they found out who was running in February. Bobby did a wonderful job doing that. Again, it requires a bylaw change. Put something in writing, what you think the bylaw should be changed to. Get in touch with Richard, and we'll have that committee change the bylaws to make that in January instead of February. Okay?
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
This goes back to what David was telling us. This delegate list, you asked that those be in place by next Wednesday, I guess, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, is that gonna be the operative list for the day of the election?
Wednesday at 12 o'clock is the cutoff date for turning in any new delegate forms. It takes a while to get everything processed. Those that are there prior to 12 o'clock on Wednesday will be eligible to vote at the delegate assembly on Friday. If it comes in after that,
Banner outside
No.
of the, I think that's an important
well,
aspect.
we could put up a 20-foot banner, Maryland, but this has been this way for the past, as long as I've been here. And
Forever.
that's why I announced it.
But there's always new people that come in the village, so just because we know it doesn't mean that they know.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the procedure has been, and it's been announced for at least the last 9 or 10 years that I'm in the office, that the Wednesday prior to the delegate assembly is the cutoff date to make changes on who are your delegates. If that needs to be clarified, we will clarify it, but that has not changed, it's nothing new. It's been there for at least 10 years. And I say 10 years because there were people there before me, and I've only been in the office 10 years. Yes, Richard?
The present lists are effective unless there are changes to be made.
Right.
This is for changes
Only, right, right. What David is saying, if you have a change in your offices or your delegates, then you want them to vote March 1st. The last time to submit those papers is this Wednesday. Okay?
It's always been that way.
All right, I agree, but I agree that some people are new. Patricia, you're up next.
Good morning, everyone, and it's great to see you, David. You are sorely missed. Going to talk about my favorite subject, the buses. People stop me and they say, hey, there's this driver, he's not very nice, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to say it again. Verbal complaints or suggestions are not accepted. You have to put it in writing so I can pass it on to the people who really count. I can't change anything. I don't have that power. I have no power. I listen to complaints and suggestions. I read what comes in, and Donald is kind enough, or David, to fax it over to Omar, since I don't see that well. But anyway, I personally had an incident, I'm not gonna talk about it, and Donald took care of it with the bus company for me. I know there's some things that are still going on, but if people don't tell me, I can make it better for you. I do the best I can. Please, if you have a suggestion or a complaint, write it out, come to see me, talk about it. That's the best I can do. I'm willing to listen to anyone about anything. Someone came in recently from the temple. I told them how we can try to get them to stop there and go around the loop. I didn't get the papers back from him yet. I'm waiting. I can only do what I can do, and the bus company can only go so far as stops. Someone was complaining to me I'm not listening because they wanted a particular stop, and they were the only one out of all the people in the village that wanted it. And I said, can't do that. I can't even pass it on. It's not worth it for just a handful of people. This is a community. I'm here for the whole community. What works for the community works for me. Thank you. God bless you. Yes.
Just a quick question. When is the contract up for renewal for our buses?
26.
2026?
Yes. Why?
Is there a reason it's so long?
A 5-year
That's the contract.
5-year contract?
Yes. I have looked into other buses, but I'm not going to discuss that now. It's too far in advance. Anything else? Anyone? No? Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
We'll move on. I'm going to ask for a treasurer's report. Do we have a treasurer's report? I'm sorry. I'm going by... No, don't be funny. I'm asking for a treasurer's report. We have none. Thank you. I'm going to give you a little brief thing. At the operations meeting, which it was a special operations meeting last week, WPRF has informed us that the roof at the clubhouse needs to be replaced. They called in a person to go over the 3 bids that we had. There was a recommendation, there was a vote to accept one of the 3 bidders, and it's going to cost us a minimum of $510,000. We have budgeted $460,000. Well, we're going to be over budget. That money will probably come out of our reserves. So, some of us were not happy, but we were told we should be happy because otherwise the air conditioning would have cost us more money. I don't see how, but it became an emergency. After the air conditioning was done, it became an emergency that we replaced the roofs. I don't want to say anything else. We need a roof, I'm letting you know. We picked the vendor. There will be someone overseeing the project, not UCO, not WPRF, an independent contractor, okay, which we're going to be paying for to make sure that the job is done correctly. If anybody has any further questions, contact myself or Donald and we'll give you any specifics. I can give you what the number is and that we picked the vendor, and they're going to probably start July or August, right? It's going to take that long for them to get the permit, and they want to minimize the impact at the clubhouse. They're saying, we were told they will not close the clubhouse, but you never know, okay? There might be, that parts of it may need to be closed down because the sheathing needs to be replaced because of water infiltration, okay? Do we have any old business? Any old business? Do we have any new business? Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple new questions.
Sure.
Do you want to go to the order or now?
No, right now, you can do it now.
First, I wanted to just say thank you to Bobby and her crew. If that was brought up, the Drive Shack event was beautiful. And thank you so much. It was fun. And it was nice to get out of Century Village for something and have fun and laugh at each other. So thank you all. And I have a question about there's a little path and bridge by Hastings A. It's really pretty with flower baskets and
The
whatnot.
Magic Garden.
Who maintains that? The bridge in that area?
Yeah, here's where it gets another little tricky vestigial organ of Century Village. Nobody owns it. That's actually part of the easement that goes straight across the top of the property. It was originally an old roadway easement. UCO maintains it insofar as we take care of the walkway, we take care of that bridge, and we mow the lawn. Over the years, nearby associations have taken it on to beautify it, and sometimes we have to get involved. For the most part, they make it very nice. They put plantings in, and it's just a nice thing. But as far as who owns it, where's the liability? And it's nobody. But somebody's got to mow the lawn, so it's us.
Yeah, I walked there. It's very pretty. I just wanted to know
The
who
bridge,
did that.
I've maintained the bridge over the years. About every 3 to 5 years, we get over and do concrete restoration just to make sure it's safe. But another bridge that was just, popped into place with, never found any permits for it. They just did it back then. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Yes, Flo?
Question, I know some of the buildings are dog friendly, but do we have a certain size dog that we can have here in the village?
Could you repeat your question?
Association, the question is, do we have a size limitation to the dogs? Again, UCO's policy is no dogs. Each individual association has to monitor the size of the dog, whether they can have a dog or not have a dog. It is not a UCO yes or no.
It's not.
It's not. It is each individual of the 309 associations, each one has to fend for itself.
I'd like to add. that,
Sure, go ahead, Jerry.
Mark from Becker Pond. Mark
Yeah.
Chapin just had a whole thing about discrimination.
Right.
This whole seminar which I went to, and he talked about dogs there. The association can limit the size of the dog.
Right.
You can't have a dog that's going to jump up on you, obviously, but they said it's really an association policy
Yes.
to decide, A, if you're dog friendly or not dog friendly, about service animals, about emotional comfort animals, and they deal with the owner in particular as to the size and so on. So that basically is, your association is a no pet policy, then it's a no pet policy. You have to make exceptions, it has to be done with paperwork, and there has to be things done up front so the owner knows this is what you can have, this is what you can't have, and the size of the animals is included in that as well.
And each association has to be vigilant because federal law says an emotional support animal is a dog or a small pony.
That's right.
That's right.
That's,
That's a service dog, not a motor.
Let me finish my question.
go ahead.
Okay, the reason why I asked that question is because I'm a COP, I be driving around. And over in Hastings, there is a gigantic dog that lives there. And then when I see the owner walking, and when he does his business, I mean, you get some serious stuff that comes out of the dog. And he don't even pick it up.
Well, it's
And I asked him, aren't you gonna pick that
So-
up?
And Flo, as far as my understanding, is once the association says you can have that miniature dog or big dog, that dog is supposed to stay on that property, not be walking all the way around. So it is up to the association to enforce that policy.
Yeah, but if he shows up in somebody else's area, now you.
They do.
And
Well,
yeah, and you got all
I'm
this
well
stuff.
aware of it, but it's up to the association to make sure and tell that individual person, the dog is not supposed to be across the street, down the hallway. And if you do, you gotta pick it up. They're the ones that allowed the dog in. The association has to take care of that.
I
Yes?
read the crime report, by the way. Donald put something about people putting poison out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I correct, Donald?
You don't get the
I actually
blocks.
have an update on that if you like.
Yeah, guys, this bears repeating because it could have some community-wide implications. We have a Cuckoo Bananas unit owner over in Oxford. She decided she don't want anybody walking a dog around her, so she put up signs that said poison applied. Now, we don't know if she put poison down, we don't know what kind of poison, if she did, we have no clue. So it's a potential problem. When she was asked by her association, did you put poison down? She said yes, she self-reported. So naturally they come to me, you know, what do we do? And I'm like, well, you gotta talk to Mark. And we got Mark involved. Mark basically said, you gotta follow up on this. This is a potentially dangerous problem. There's children running around this time of year. The reporting agency for putting down pesticides and poison without a license, which by the way is a misdemeanor, that's if nobody gets hurt, is the Department of Agriculture. So Mark told us all how to make that report. It was the first time I've seen one. And they did make a complaint, and there will be an investigation. They're gonna go out and test the soil all around this crazy lady's apartment to make sure that there's nothing dangerous there, and possibly enforcement action. So this is Florida. If you don't have a license to put down pesticides or poison, don't do it. Your own apartment, do whatever you want. But in common areas, multifamily dwelling, no, you have to have a license, and there's a reason for that. It's keep people from getting hurt. Yes, Joyce.
Can
Hi.
she be persecuted? And who's gonna
Well, I don't know about persecuted, but possibly prosecuted.
I'm sorry.
It is a misdemeanor to put those down, and that assumes that nobody, you know, some kid doesn't eat it.
Who's gonna pay for it?
Say again?
Who's gonna pay for the testing of the soil?
The state does that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but, you know, every week there's something new. Well, this is what I learned about. What happens if a maniac says they put poison down? Now I know what we need to do. All right.
Yes, another question. Yeah.
Getting back to the dog situation.
Yes.
My kids are looking for apartments and whatnot, and we've been looking around, and what they're starting to do now, as crazy as this sounds, if a dog defecates somewhere, they actually have a service that apartments use now, that they swab for the DNA, and then the first violation is like $250, the second violation is $500, and it stops it like that.
And that is true, because I have a condo in Altamont Springs, and dogs are allowed, but they have those dog drop things, you pick it up, put it in the can, they even got the little paper. And there's a camera there, there's cameras. So if your dog drop and you don't pick it up, and somebody report it, they check the cameras and like, no, you did not pick up behind your dog, and they get a fine.
What's next, the DNA dog registry or
Well,
what?
that's what it is.
Yes,
They have
that's what it is.
For a dog to be allowed into the community, they do a DNA test and they have that on record. And when the problem arises, they check it against known DNA.
Yes.
Can we have one conversation, please? Diane? Thank you. All right. There's one thing that I omitted to say. Evidently, there's some concerns since Tony passed away, who was a licensed insurance agent that worked in our office. Since the time that she passed away, the officers and the CAM contacted Massey, our insurance carrier. They have voluntarily given us an agent to come in twice a week to oversee Michael Bunk, who's been working in there. And we've also got a new unit owner who isn't registered for 40 years, a licensed agent in New York. She has applied for her 220 license in Florida. She has it already, okay? So as far as we're concerned, UCO's coverage of having a licensed agent has never ceased. I know that there's some rumors out there that we need a licensed person in the office. As soon as Tony died, Donald contacted Massey, and Massey said, we'll send you a person 2 days a week, whatever you need. So I want to put that to rest, okay? The other thing that also, Ruth has contacted COVID twice in a short period of time. She's been out. She's doing a fantastic job. She's gone to the doctor. She's gone to the emergency room. She's really behind the weather, but the paper still comes out. The early delivery will be today, so by Saturday and Sunday, every apartment in Century Village, every building in Century Village should have a copy of the new UCO reporter. I recommend that you guys say a little prayer that she gets better. She is 91 years old, pushing for 92, and she's, yes, yeah, she's one of the young ones, okay? And her main concern is that she feels she's not doing enough for Century Village, and we should have more people. I talk to her at least once a day, okay? She feels she's not doing enough, and I told her, don't worry about it. She wanted to come to the meeting today. She said, I'll put a mask on. I said, no, you're gonna stay home, okay? She does most of the work from home. Just keep her in your prayers. Okay, any other new business?
Just,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I'm chatty today. Just one more consideration. I brought it up before, but needless to say, people that are moving in are younger and they would like access. I know myself, I have to take off my time from work to come to the meetings. I don't get the opportunity to take a swim class, a fitness class, a club meeting, a delegate meeting. I don't have access to a lot of things that happen here.
Okay.
And we feel kind of disenfranchised. Is there any way to talk about quarterly meetings that we can have during the evening, if it's twice a year, just so we're in touch with what's happening in our community?
We're a 55 and older community, and we're trying our best to keep things rolling, okay? It's on the TV channels. Joanne has done a fantastic job after many years of having 3 TV channels that did nothing but repeat the same stuff for 36 months, 48 months. We now have updates almost instantly. I mean, Joanne is there, she gets it, and 15 minutes later, I see her going, she goes, oh, look, it's up there already. So,
And that's
I
nice
don't
having
know.
a reporting. You're reporting it. I'm not involved in it. I can't ask this question when I'm watching it on TV.
I understand that, but you can always put it in writing, give it to whoever that committee chair is, or to any one of the UCO officers, and we'll be happy to answer it for you, either in writing, email, or present it to the...
Not the same, I'm sorry. We pay a lot of money here to be part of this community, would like to be part of the community.
It's a retirement community.
But at
Again,
55, you don't retire.
well,
Don't move him.
unfortunately, listen, I mean, what can I tell you?
All I would like to hear is, let's talk about it. Let's see what that looks like, instead of saying no.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here that would like to have access to volunteer. I know myself, I said, I'll volunteer on Saturday mornings. No, we're not gonna open the office. There
Well,
has
it's
to
a
be
lot more-
something for us to do.
Okay, have you ever been in business?
Constant.
Okay, so you know when I turn the key and turn on the lights, there's a cost. It's a fixed
Understandable.
cost to operate.
Understandable.
UCO operates with 2 paid individuals and volunteers. We keep our costs down, we minimize. WPRF, we have some control over, they're spending our money, okay? What we can control, we try to control. There are things that we cannot control. Am I 100% happy with everything that goes on? No. Do I hopefully be able to make some changes? I hope so.
So my
Okay.
question is, if we're turning on the light
Right.
on a Friday or a Saturday, or a nighttime to daytime, that makes a difference?
No, it makes a
If
difference
we're
that I have
changing-
volunteers for 5 days a week. And those volunteers would love to have Saturday and Sunday off. Just like as a worker goes to work 5 days a week and wants to have a day or 2 off. And right now, I don't have any volunteers that are willing to say, I'm gonna work 6 days a week, or 7 days a week. And I don't think it's fair. As a working person, you don't wanna work 7 days a week, you wanna have some time off.
You haven't thought of maybe somebody who works just on the weekend?
Right.
Or just in the evening?
It's a lot more than just being there.
Just because we've always done it doesn't mean we
I
can't.
understand that. And
Other things.
all I'm gonna tell you is, if you think that you have the answers, I recommend that you come to the UCO office and sit there for 5 days. And then tell us what you think we should be doing to make changes.
So I need to take off a week's work.
No, I'm just
work
saying-
for us to talk
I-
about having a meeting on an
You- you-
evening.
that-
Is that really what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. We're talking about opening the UCO office.
Let's talk about the meetings, for us to
Okay.
have access. An
All right.
evening meeting.
Well,
Once a
yeah,
quarter.
excuse me,
Once a
Richard, go
quarter.
ahead.
I think what the lady wants is afternoon, evening, and weekend meetings. Am I correct?
Okay.
Once a quarter.
Once a
Okay.
quarter.
Maybe 4 times.
I'm not getting crazy.
Once a
Yeah.
quarter.
Okay. Well, hopefully the new administration will take that into consideration.
Let's
Having
go.
maybe a quarterly meeting at 7, 8 o'clock at night, assuming that we can get a room in the clubhouse. So just remember, there's a lot of things that go on at night. That's why most of our meetings are during the day. Because a lot of these rooms, we have clubs, we have things that go on in the clubhouse almost every day. But I will be more than happy, next administration, hopefully, will be more than happy to have a quarterly meeting and at one of the meetings during nighttime.
I've been listening to this conversation, and something just struck me. Just please understand that UCO is not a Century Village club. Strictly speaking, we have no place in this recreational facility. The manager allows us the use of this facility basically on sufferance, because they want to be good partners. And you're absolutely right. There are events in these rooms at night and on weekends. One of the reasons we get this room every month at 10 o'clock on Friday is because nobody else wants it. So we're working with them, they're working with us. It doesn't mean things can't change, but that is something that I'm aware of. Thank you.
Excuse me, Don. I know, I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
but it seems like you guys are afraid of change. I mean, how are we gonna grow if there's no change to
We're not afraid of change.
Yeah, everything I hear, like when I asked about the paper, well, it's always been that way. It's been that way for the last 10 years, but excuse me, I haven't been here 10 years. And she's right. There's people that's not retired, that might want to be a part of something.
We're open, Flo.
Before you dismiss it,
We're not dismissing it.
let's at least think about it.
Flo, I explained to you what you were looking for. You asked if the candidates that are available, not to come out in March, to come out in February. And I explained to you that our bylaws say that there is candidates are able to be nominated off the floor at the February delegate assembly. It requires a bylaw change. If you do that, the next year, you won't have that paper. If it goes through, it'll be January's paper will have that. Excuse me, February's paper.
Well, yeah, you answered that, but getting back to what
Yeah,
she
that's-
asked,
that's what she's referring to.
what she referred to, I'm sorry, I'm saying free, I forgot.
Don't
your
worry.
name. And, it's something to think about.
We are
something to
thinking about
consider
it. Trust me.
When we go into the next year,
But
and if by any chance that you get elected, you get elected,
Right.
thank you. We don't expect that's business as usual. We want to
We're gonna-
see some improvement.
Trust me, you're gonna have lots of improvements.
Let's take that into
Yeah,
consideration.
trust me. If it was me, there would be lots of changes. But again, we're limited by our bylaws, by the people that live here, the people that are willing to put in the time. Me, I volunteer 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Okay? Not everybody's willing to do that. Okay? Richard, you had your hand up? Did you say what you wanted to say?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Do we have anything for the good of the order?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second? Good. Have a good weekend, everybody.
There's a book of bylaws. And